Metro Police!
We don't know where he is.
A shootout at a gas station caught on camera. The driver in the black car suddenly started shooting,
puts them into his pockets, and then he walks out of the store. He also walks past an Emeryville police car before getting...
After watching all that, you might be thinking, is that what life in the U.S. has really become? I thought the same thing. So I made the decision and changed everything. I left the United States and moved my family to the Dominican Republic. And let me tell you something, this isn't just paradise, this is home. We built a life here we don't need an escape from, one with community, culture, and charm. In today's video, I'm gonna show you exactly why we made the move, talk to my wife, which I've never introduced to the channel until today, so stay tuned, and talk about what life looks like after living here for several years. Now, there are many reasons why we decided to move our family. Rise cost of living, lack of family time, never-ending hustle mentality, and loss of community. It doesn't matter if you're making $100,000 or $20,000, you are more than likely living paycheck to paycheck. Rent after COVID, the cost of home ownership, and a multitude of other things has made it extremely difficult for people to live the life they used to. Gasoline, groceries, healthcare, everything across the board has skyrocketed. However, the salaries have remained the same. The federal minimum wage is still $7.25 in 2025, which is absolutely mind-blowing. In a first world country like the United States, one of the things that for me was really difficult was the lack of family time. And that's something that in the US doesn't seem to really be a priority. People prioritize work, their friends, and when it comes down to family, it's extremely rare that you see people have a relationship with their families. Whereas here in the Dominican Republic, it's something that people gravitate to. Right now I'm here with my family, spending the weekend in Cabrera with some other families that have also moved from the US to the Dominican Republic in recent years. And one of the things that everyone said across the board was that we wanted to be able to provide a life here that we found difficult to be able to provide for our families in the States. Another one of the things that drove me crazy about living over there was constant hustle mentality. People over there, I feel like, didn't have a healthy work-life balance. And for me, as a father of two beautiful girls, a husband, one of the things that I always promised myself was that I wanted to dedicate time to my family, my daughters, because once they become older, they're gonna start their own lives with their own families, and I wanna cherish the moments that I have with them now. One of the things that I really appreciate about here is that Saturday and Sunday, people disconnect. Do not expect to conduct business on the weekends. People here love to relax, go to the beach as we're doing here, and spend time with their loved ones. Be able to embrace the moments because tomorrow is never promised. My friends come here, they're able to disconnect. And one of the things that they always tell me, and it never fails, they feel like they are leaving renewed. It's the people, it's the air, it's the palm trees, it's the sun. So when it comes down to that hustle mentality, yes, people here work Monday through Friday. They grind, they get it done. However, they do know how to disassociate themselves from what they do at work and are able to translate it into weekends with the family, which is something that I truly value and love. Last one on the list that I'll share with you today is the loss of community. Walking around the neighborhood that I grew up in when I go back to visit my parents and seeing that people are by themselves, don't really see many people visiting one another, and it's lonely. When we go places, we know people, you actually acknowledge one another, which is something that over there, even if you know someone, it's kind of like, oh, hey, no, you stop, you ask how their family's doing, how they've been. Yesterday, when we were coming out here to the beach, we were at Monte Plata, and we ran into some friends, and I told my wife, I was like, you see, this is what I love, this is what I appreciate. It's Friday at 1 p.m., you see people already disconnected, they're out, they're going to the beach for the weekend, they're enjoying themselves. You're probably asking yourself, okay, well, you've been criticizing, but what have you found? First thing is slower pace of life. Here, people operate at a much slower pace. As an entrepreneur, as someone who owns multiple businesses, this disconnect that I have on the weekends, this time to myself, this time with my families, is something that is difficult to find over there because people are always working 7 days a week, calling you during the weekend, and you're never actually able to truly disconnect. By the way, this is one of the most beautiful places that I've stayed. It's absolutely stunning. You have to check it out. It's this nice 5-bedroom villa, beachfront, as you can tell, waves crashing behind me, and 5 different bungalows, private chef, massage on the beach. This is what I mean. This is a typical Saturday here in the Dominican Republic. Now, before some of you criticize and say, oh, this is not the reality for many people, I live the same life in the US, but I wasn't able to do these things on a level because it didn't offer it. I lived in Texas in the middle of nowhere where there was a bunch of desert and I had to hop on a plane. That's what I mean, that you're able to enjoy different natural resources that this beautiful paradise has to offer, whether it's mountains, rivers, beach, sand dunes, city, whatever you want, this place has. Another thing is safety. As a father of 2 girls, like I mentioned before, safety for me has always been a priority. I send my daughters to school without any problems. I don't have to worry about gun violence being a thing. There is petty crime here in the Dominican Republic, as you would anywhere in the world. So you know that unfortunately that's just part of life. Something else is access to nature, access to real food. I mean, right here, we have some chicken. We have a chicken coop. We have plátanos right here that they use in the mornings once they are ready to be taken down. I like to eat real food. I like to be able to be healthy rather than be injecting myself with all the chemicals and preservatives that they do elsewhere. Now, I know I mentioned this earlier about strong community ties, and that's something that I can't emphasize enough. Right now, we are with 3 families going through the education system, the medical healthcare system here. Individuals who were successful in the US making money through real estate, tech, entrepreneurship, yet they decided to move their families to the Dominican Republic for a better quality of life. These are things that weren't talked about 30 years ago because of the economic state that the Dominican Republic was in, the power outages, the water shortages. But fast forward to 2025, it's becoming a destination for people to migrate to, and that's the most beautiful thing. As you can tell, the culture, the bachata playing in the background as they're cooking, life doesn't get much better than this. Now, a couple of things that I want to address are the what ifs. Everyone always has the what ifs. What if this happens? What if that happens? Well, guess what? I'm here to break down the what ifs and answer those questions that you have. Number 1, healthcare. Now, the healthcare for me was one of the most concerning things when I moved to the island. I'm not gonna lie. Now, after being hospitalized, stitched up, having my daughters go through COVID, influenza, hand and foot and mouth, everything, I can tell you that if you're coming out here, if you have health insurance, you are going to have the medical facilities. All right, the next one is schooling. It cracks me up when people tell me that they're worried about their kids coming to school here in the Dominican Republic when the kids here in the DR are a million times better prepared than the kids back in the States. Why is that? Now, like I said, I'm comparing apples to apples. My daughters go to a private school. If a lot of you are coming from the US or coming from other countries, I'm assuming that a lot of you are coming financially set. You have your resources in order to be able to do that. Now, when I compare a 5-year-old from here and a 5-year-old from the States, there is no comparison, all right? I'm speaking on a real life experience. My 5-year-old daughter can read, can write in English and Spanish. She can talk to you about the different continents. She can talk to you about history, things that I know I wasn't even doing until I was older due to the education system in the States. Another thing that people always are asking me is, well, Jonah, what if I miss my family? What if I miss my friends? Well, that is absolutely normal, okay? For you to get away from what you've been accustomed to for such a long time. However, there is a reason why you are even considering or thinking of making that move. As much as I love my family, my friends, one of the things that I always want to make sure is that I have my family interests, and most importantly, mental health and mental clarity. And for me, that was here in the Dominican Republic. This transition isn't something that's going to happen overnight. You're not just going to arrive and be like, oh, I'm comfortable from day one. It took me almost a year to be able to transition and get used to the banking system, how things operated, my daughter's school, the healthcare system, and a multitude of other things, right? It wasn't something that I was able to just get here and adapt to right away. So that's something that you definitely want to take into consideration when making that move, to give yourself sufficient time to adapt to the different way of life, to the culture, to the way things operate, because they're not going to operate like they do back in your home country or wherever you're coming from. And the last what if is culture shock. It's something that's going to happen to everyone. I get culture shock whenever I go back to the US and visit family and friends, right? I've been here for 4 years. I've adapted extremely well. And one of the things that I can tell you is that wherever you're moving to around the world, make sure to adapt to the way of life there. Do not move somewhere and get upset because there's horns and honking here, or that they're playing music real loud in the colmado, or that things take a while to get done. That's just the way things are done here on the island, right? If you can't adapt to those things, if you want people to change for you, don't move. Do not move. I'm saving you the headaches, I'm saving you the hassle, I'm saving you the money. I'm being clear as day. Do not move if you are unwilling to adapt and you're unwilling to do things outside of your norm and outside of your comfort zone. Because when you move, you are definitely going to have to be open-minded, changing the way on how certain things are done because you are somewhere else. Now, with that being said, many of you have been asking to meet my wife, and I'm here, we're enjoying vacation, and here is my lovely wife. Everybody say what's up. For you that don't know, my wife, she is not Dominican, she is...
I'm Salvadorian from Washington, D.C., and living my best life here in DR. I think I'm becoming more Dominican, though, by the minute. So.
Yeah, she's definitely Dominican Max. She uses her little Dominican lingos. She goes out to the salon like every week. She's gotten acclimated to the way of life here. Now, for a lot of people, obviously I'm Dominican, you're not.
Yeah.
People think that I'm biased. What has your experience been like? What has life been like here since you left the U.S. and decided to make the move?
Well, there's many things that are just a lot better here. For one, I would have to say the values and the culture of Dominican Republic in general, I love and I appreciate. Couldn't imagine raising our kids in the United States simply because of everything that's been going on. But aside from that, since we met, the first time I came to DR, I just fell in love. I mean, the people are so lively. Todo es un relajo, everything's a joke. At the same time, like, family is at the core of everything, and same with religion too. That was a big thing that I noticed and appreciate every day. And I tell you too, like, the mornings, anywhere you go, they start off with Christian music, alabando a Dios. And I mean, I think it's funny because by the end of the night, everybody's drinking and blasting other music. But God is in the center of everything here.
Amen, that is true.
So,
Vaya con Dios.
Exacto.
So do you believe that we made the right decisions for our girls and our family?
Yes, 100%. The girls didn't go to school out in the States because they're still really young. Our youngest one was 3 months when we moved here. Everything was new. I was, of course, nervous about the whole move and starting at a new school, but the second that we had the interview with the girls and the director of the school, I just felt like it was the right decision, the right fit. Since then, we've been really happy with the school. I'm impressed with how much they involve the parents, how much they get the kids to get out of their comfort zone too and start thinking differently. Speaking
multiple languages.
They are minimal 2 languages, English and Spanish.
We're talking about 5 and 6 years old here.
Yes, they talk a lot about culture and like other countries. So they're getting a full, well-rounded education, in my opinion, here. I mean, the girls come from school with homework and they're working on different things.
Critical thinking.
Enriches their lives. So I'm happy with the education system here.
How long did it take for you to adapt to here? Was it easy? I know there were things that at first was a little difficult for us. The one car situation, adapting to. What was your experience like?
So I was, again, postpartum with a 3-month-old. So things were a little difficult. And same, we had a toddler. We had one car, and I was just getting to know the country, and I guess I didn't feel as safe, right? You're moving to a whole new country, new systems. Driving was scary for me. Thankfully, your mom motivated me, and she would go with me to the mall, and we would do different little trips here and there to just get me comfortable with driving.
That's true. I forgot about that.
That helped so much. But I would say that it took about 6 months to a year to really feel comfortable and feel like, okay, I can live here and feel safe. It's not that I was unsafe due to people. It was just being somewhere where I wasn't familiar with, the way of things, the way of life, like
So
where
you
to
say
find
comfort
things.
was comfortable. You want to get comfortable. Safe, maybe not the right word.
No, it was just feeling comfortable going out and doing things on my own, I would say. But that's why we have this guide that we created, because again, that didn't exist when I moved here.
If you don't know what she's talking about, I'm going to put a link down below, the relocation guide. If you're thinking about moving out here to Dominican Republic and you want information based off health insurance, the way things operate, how to set up cell phone bills, utility bills, bank accounts, the whole nine, that guide is going to have it. We built it based off of our experience relocating to the Dominican Republic. A lot of questions that we had that were unanswered when we first made the jump. However, we put our minds together and we created that guide. So check it down below.
And it's a really good resource because I thought of how I felt when those first 6 months that I was here, just getting to know where to go to the pharmacy, the grocery store, anything that I needed. I wish I would have had something like that, because it would have made me feel a little bit more at ease and I wasn't navigating things by myself.
What's the biggest tip that you can give someone who may be second guessing themselves? They are overthinking and overanalyzing on making the jump out here to the island.
The advice I would give to you is, I think I was starting to get cold feet, like right as we were getting closer, but I was like, you have to do it, Matilde. The worst that can happen is that you can go back, right? That was what I kept telling myself. It doesn't work out, you can always go back, but at least you gave it a try. And what are we, 4 years in, and I'm not going back. And I'm glad that I made that decision, because we're here living the best life.
And look at us right here. We're in paradise, enjoying our weekend getaway. We live a life that we don't need a vacation from. It's simple as that. We live where you vacation. And for us, this is our base. We don't plan on relocating to any other country. We do plan on traveling, obviously, and getting to know other countries and immersing in other cultures. However, we have decided that we want to make Dominican Republic our home for many reasons.
And that's big for us, because we've moved around a lot, and I can say that for the first time in 13 years that we've been together, this is the place that I feel like we can truly call home.
And that's deep. So guys, check out her Instagram. What's the Instagram page?
It's Matilde_Abby.
This girl right here is motivation. I always talk about how much she motivates me and how she's allowed me to become the best version of myself, but also allowed me to live this dream of moving back to the motherland, and most importantly, embracing it and even calling it her own. So if you like content like this, make sure to hit that like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, this is our experience. This is our journey. What's meant for us may not be meant for everyone else. However, we are only here to share our perspective and our story. Until next time.